Okay, I now have the privilege to introduce our speaker for this morning, Lori Carter. Um, Lori Carter is a resident of Castaiga and SCS CMH certified medium healer and teacher. She's a clairvoyant, so she sees, feels, knows, and hears readings and connects with spirit to give evidence of their presence, life guidance, and psychic information. Lori is a self-published author of 2 books and co-author of a 3rd, and they're all available in our bookstore. Her website, if you want to connect with Lori outside, is fromtheethers.com, so from the ethers, ETHERS.com. Now I'm pleased to bring to the podium Lori Carter. Yay!
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you everyone for coming today. Truly appreciate you spending your time with me. And so wouldn't it be great to go anywhere in the world? Most time money is needed for that. Oh, there's those armchair tours of places online. I guess they now have the virtual reality headsets you can wear to take you anywhere. But guess what? We all have the ability to go if we dare. I'm talking about astral projection, which is the ability of a person's spirit to travel to distant places, according to Merriam-Webster Dictionary online. Another says astral travel is the act of separating the astral body, spirit consciousness, from the physical body and its journey into the universe, according to dictionary.com. The way we can achieve this is through meditation and or sleep state. My first experience with astral travel was right before I was married. My future partner and now former husband told me he had dreams that he was out in the universe, and it freaked him out because he didn't know if he'd be able to get back to his body. And of course, I'm thinking, wow, I want to do that. And so little did I know that I probably already had. In my own experiences, I learned that we have an etheric cord that attaches the astral body to the physical body. Once when I was lucid dreaming, I asked to see it, and there it was. Ask and you shall receive. When we sleep, each and every one of us leaves our body, so to speak. Our astral body perhaps goes home and then returns at some point before we awaken. Has anyone ever dreamt that they were in a different home, wondered where they were, but felt like it was safe? You were astral traveling, going home for a moment. I recall a couple of times chasing someone, running up the stairs to reach them, and saw like 5 or 6 people sitting on a table waving at me like they hadn't seen me in years. And this was in a dream, just so you're aware. Some say astral travel does not exist, that people simply have deja vu moments. Some say it's your guide showing you what will happen to you in the future. And it could be both. I'm open. I've been to many places before I ever thought to have arrived. I used to go to homes of teachers beforehand, see everything in rooms. It truly amazed me every single time, and it still does. The question, were all those instances travels or dreams? Out-of-body experiences, also known as OBEs, are experiences in which a person seems to be awake and sees his body and the world from a location outside of the physical body. How many of you can relate to it? Anyone? Okay, yay, 1, 2, love it. And so I've seen myself standing outside of my body on many occasions. And the first time I ever heard of this was when in high school, when my next door neighbor told me, and I was in high school, and it was like, I don't know, a little while ago. And he said he could see his body sitting with crossed legs floating in the air while he was lying in bed. And so how do we learn to do this is the question. I truly believe that some of us learned out-of-body experiences to escape physical abuse, and then once it was realized, It could be done. We practiced. Perhaps with others, out-of-body experiences just occurred. So what do we ultimately learn from the separation of self and energy? First and foremost, so you can realize that you are more than your physical bodies. That's a huge statement right there. We are more than our physical bodies. So you can learn more about yourself and bring knowledge back to use on the earth plane. So you can raise your consciousness. So you can diminish your fear of death, the unknown. We are all born into different religions and what their thoughts are on death. 2 books to look at in regard to death: The Blue Island by W.T. Steed, which is actually a free PDF online if you look it up. It's called The Blue Island, and The Afterlife of Billy Fingers: How My Bad Boy Brother Proved to Me There's Life After Death by Annie Kagan, and I do believe that that is in the bookstore. In spiritualism regarding the afterlife, Emanuel Swedenborg, a forerunner of spiritualism, 1688 to 1772, inspired Andrew Jackson Davis, 1826 to 1910, in the book The Great Harmonia, to say that Summerland is the highest level of the afterlife we can hope to enter. Summerland is said to be a place of rest for souls after or between earthly carnations. Some spirits will stay in Summerland for an eternal afterlife. Some believe after a period of time they will reincarnate. There are many teachings on the astral plane, which is where we go when we have out-of-body experiences, and again, they occur in meditation and sleep state. One thing to always remember: we are connected to the collective consciousness and its history, every single thing. And I like to share experiences that have happened to me, so that it gives the space for others to share their own experiences when you leave today. One of my big astral travel experiences took place many years ago, and if you've heard this story already, thank you for your patience. I had a dream of an orange car that was traveling in a large field. I was on the outside looking in, and I was like flying. I saw 2 people in the front seat and 2 in the back, and I knew that the one person in the back was dead because their arm was flipped over like this, like you would see on television, right? And so finally the car parked next to a lone house in an expansive field. I had this dream over and over for a week. A week later, I was standing in line to go into yoga class. A woman said to me that they had finally found the person who killed her son 20 years ago in South Florida. So I announced who I am. I said I'm Lori Carter, and I'm a freelance writer for the Lake edition of the Orlando Sentinel, and I would love to tell your story. And never even once thinking of the dream. And so we decided to catch up after class. During resting pose, or savasana, I saw the car from my dream go by. I asked her when we exchanged numbers if an orange car was involved, and she swore that it was not. By the time I got home, there was like 15 minutes later, there was a message on my phone wanting to know how I knew it was the red car. So listen, I'm a freelance writer and working in the community that I live in. And so I'm like, I'm just going to risk it and tell her. And I told her about my dream, and she confirmed every single thing. I actually did a story on it, too. And so where do we go when we astral travel? We go to planes and dimensions. When we leave the earth plane, we go to various planes. Depending who we are at the time of leaving this plane is where we go. A plane is conceived as a subtle state of consciousness that transcends the known physical universe. To relate to planes, let's take a look at the ocean. The lower plane, which has many areas, is dense and dark, and those who are there are fine with it. They're in the dark and are comfortable being there. The middle level, which also has many areas, has some light and some darkness. The water is still murky and they have a ways to go. At the top level, which again has many areas, you're always in the light. You can see the higher level of existence and try to strive forward to illumine truth. Some in the upper level are like flying fish. They fly out and see the light and feel the freedom of an open space. Could that be astral travel for that fish, even if it was maybe for a split second? Think of it this way. Let's say this whole room is one level of the astral plane. Then we look at doorways or dimensions, which are different levels in the astral plane. There are many teachings on dimensions, and I decided to go with the 7. The physical plane, or physical universe, refers to the visible reality of space and time, energy, and matter. It's right here. The astral plane, also known as the emotional plane, is where consciousness goes after physical death, or when we astral travel. Here's another one of my experiences. I had a dream recently, not too long ago, about a plane crash, and it was in cartoon, right? And here it's going, it starts sputtering, and then it takes the nosedive. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to help these people. Next thing I knew, people were coming from the crash, and I was so happy and relieved for that. The first thing I saw the next morning is a post on Facebook page about a military crash, and everyone survived. I thought it was the greatest thing, and I couldn't wait to tell one of my best woo-woo friends about it. And she said to me, and I quote, "You could have saved those people from an alternate dimension." And I'm like, wow, that's an amazing thought, isn't it? And so I'm here to tell you not to fear plane crash dreams, because you never know. The mental plane, also known as the causal plane, is divided into subplanes. Charles W. Leadbetter wrote, "In the mental world, one formulates a thought, and it is instantly transmitted to the mind of another without any expressions in the form of words. Therefore, on that plane, language does not matter in the least." The Buddhic plane is described as a realm of pure consciousness. The spiritual plane, George W. Winslow Plummer wrote that the spiritual plane is split into many subplanes, and that on these planes live spiritual beings who are more advanced in development and status than ordinary people. It's a place to gain spiritual knowledge and experience. The divine plane. According to some teachings, all souls are born on the divine plane and descend through the lower planes. However, souls will work their way to the divine plane. On the divine plane, souls can be open to conscious communication with the sphere of the divine known as the Absolute and receive knowledge about the nature of reality. Here's another dream I had a few years ago as well. I was elevating slowly, and all of a sudden I just started shooting straight up into outer space. The stars were glorious, and it was so dark because we were in outer space. Next thing I knew, hundreds, maybe thousands, I don't know, of orbs, colorful orbs about this big, were just all around me. My hair was actually blowing in the wind. Can you imagine that in outer space? Wonder if that's real. And so the next thing I knew, all of those orbs came into a man's face about this big and started speaking to me. I'll never forget that dream either. And later, I found out by taking Reverend Phil DeLong's healing class. Trust me, he didn't pay me for that. But by taking his class, I found out that in the divine plane, there's beautiful, colorful orbs. And I'm like, oh, I so hope I was there. And so the highest plane is the logoic plane. It has been described as a plane of total oneness, the I am presence. Some describe the plane as a complete unity with God. In the religion of spiritualism, the absolute is known as infinite intelligence. And the principles that we just related today, the first one, we believe in infinite intelligence. Some teach the divine plane is where Jesus dwelt in Christ consciousness. As for astral travel, practice, practice, practice. One book that I have read most of, My Big Toe by Thomas Campbell. TOE is the acronym for Theory of Everything. The book is about Robert Monroe of the Monroe Institute in Virginia. He began his journey in 1956 to learn more about the consciousness and out-of-body experience. At first, he had OBEs and then discovered that sound could induce certain states of consciousness, which led to the opening of the institute and patent sound technology called HemiSync. And we're going to come back to HemiSync in a minute because I wanted to point out something else that I found on the website from the Astro Travel Club website. According to studies in brainwave technology, there are 6 states that our mind has to go through before we reach astral projection. The first is gamma. This indicates that our mind is in the state of high awareness and strong perception. Beta. This is when we're in the problem-solving state. Alpha, this is when the mind is slower and more relaxed. Theta, this state is when our mind is in deep relaxation and meditation and astral projection happens. Delta, in this stage, brain activity is slow. It's when the person is in deep sleep. Lambda Epsilon, this is the level of multidimensional awareness and mystical consciousness. When we combine these brainwave frequencies, we can attain astral projection. And beats and pulses of the audio recordings are now available to help you to reach the frequency stages, which I did not give to you, but you can find them very easily on the internet. And so the following are 3 types of audio recordings that can help the mind transform frequencies for astral projection. HemiSync includes binaural beats. There's 2 frequencies are created separately, one for each ear. And when this happens, the mind creates the third. We don't hear it, but it is there. Studies have shown that when the alpha frequency and the theta frequency are combined, the resulting tone eases the mind into achieving astral projection. Monaural beats are 2 tones of the same intensity and at the same time pulsing at specific patterns. And then there are isochronic tones. It is that this is the most effective type of tone for the mind when preparing for astral projection. This technology uses tones in equal intensity, but has much faster pulse speed. It is said that the rhythm synchronizes well with the brain. Robert Monroe believed a 7-step practice done twice daily for at least 30 minutes will assist with astral travel. First, one must totally relax their body, both physically and emotionally. While in meditation, focus on your breathing and begin a relaxation technique starting with your toes and moving to the top of your head. Enter a hypnagogic state of consciousness. It's just between waking and sleeping. Deepen this state by observing what you see through closed eyes in a darkened room. And before exiting your body, you will feel intense vibrations and or electrical sensations. One may also hear like a static electricity, a roar of sorts, and or see circles of lights. I find Robert Monroe very interesting. He's a physicist, and he's trying to tell us he's a left-brainer, tries to tell us right-brainers how to meditate. I think it's kind of cute. I haven't tried his techniques yet, but I might eventually. So, how many of you meditate every day? Something to start working toward. So, I say, I'm going to give you a brief description on how to meditate quickly. You lie in your bed, have a little music in the background, no up-tempo music, no lyrics. Set an intention. Maybe you'd like to meet your guides. Maybe you want to grow your gifts. Maybe you just need some body, mind, spirit healing. And every time you think about other things you should be doing, like washing the dishes or doing the laundry, focus on your third eye and your breath in and out. And that should bring you back into the meditative state. And you might fall asleep at first. So what? Number one, you need sleep. Don't beat yourself up for it. Number two, you set the intention. And so eventually you will be able to sustain the meditative state. If you do 5 minutes the first day, gradually work it up to a 20-minute daily meditation. And so just so you're aware, wrapping it up here, with the instance of the orange car, that was retrocognition. The airplane crash in outer space could be real time or precog for the airplane crash. Start working with your guides and ask to see things for, say, 6 months out. After a while, shorten the time or to whatever time period you want to see. And so being a reporter, even though I'm not currently writing for a newspaper, I still do love quotes. The following are from Robert Monroe. Always know and remember that you are more than your physical body. Exercise your human mind as full as possible, knowing it is only an exercise. And this one on the website, monroeinstitute.org, was there a long time ago. I'm not sure if it's still there or not. Human consciousness is evolving, awakening to the discovery of self. All of us are participants in the evolution of consciousness, the next great leap for humanity. We perceive ourselves to be more than just our physical bodies. We are connected to the universe through non-physical dimensions and a holographic matrix of timeless information. Life itself is not something physical and death something spiritual. For us, life's experiences have taken on a new significance. We marvel at the wonder of an emerging perception of reality that has been here waiting for us to realize all along. Thank you so much for your time.